Manever I say ma PENDREAM TV. PENDREAM TV there, I see them yopo.
Now I call Ghana's most wanted. You know why? Because people have been sending me information. Okay, sir, bring him on the phone. Bring him on the show. Bring him on the show. Everybody wants to hear from him, and I know why. But today, all of you just chill. I have him in the house. Ladies and gentlemen, show some love for my good friend Domelevo. Yes, sir, boss.
Yes, sir.
Good to have you here.
It's a pleasure.
As I would say, I guess I know why they want to hear from you, because we are in the era of oral. They say the oral mode has been activated. So who else can talk about oral more than you? So we're going to be talking about oral plus many things.
Yeah.
Once I have you here, we'll talk about as many as we can. But even before we start, I read, I think it was in Ghana Web, one of those platforms that the former Attorney General, Mr. Ayikoi Otoo, had launched some attack on you, that there was some information that deliberately withheld during the CJ petition issue. And I said, answer this one, when you come, I'll let you answer that first before we talk about anything else. So did you do that, and why?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Let me say that I heard it myself through many of the social medias, and I think on one of the TV3 program or something of that nature, and it surprised me. Before responding to him, let me quickly put in a disclaimer to say I'm not speaking on behalf of the committee.
Okay.
I'm speaking my mind. And I will not be disclosing things that happened at the committee, except those that they themselves have brought into the public domain. When I say they, I'm referring to Mr. Ayikoi Otoo and the former Chief Justice. What they brought into the public domain. I will respond to some of them. One of them is the location where we even had our hearing. It was said as a security zone.
And then the work of the committee is being conducted in a cordoned high security zone on Castle Drive, Otoo, when all Article 146 proceedings since 1993 have been held in facilities of the judicial service. It is hard not to reach the conclusion that the choice of venue against the backdrop of secrecy of proceedings is intended to intimidate me and to prevent any citizen of Ghana from knowing how the proceedings are being conducted.
Maybe you can take a tour to Otoo Lodge and see. There's no resemblance of gun and etc. over there at all. But one may ask, why not the court complex or the judicial service?
Why not?
Yeah. The answer is very simple. All other committees under Article 146 are Chief Justice Committee. It's the Chief Justice who set up the committee. So he decides where they should sit. But when the petition is against the Chief Justice, it's the Presidential Committee. It's the President who set up the committee. So it is not for the Chief Justice to tell us where to sit. It is for the President to tell us where we should sit. So they found a place for us. And again, because of the requirement that the proceedings should be in camera also, we thought that was a better place, because people will not come and mount their cameras and be shooting and say, oh, these are the panel members, this is the petitioner, this is the respondent going, etc. So we thought it was a very appropriate place. Thirdly, this was the Chief Justice meeting the committee. And if we should do that in a court complex, it's a bit demeaning. It's like he's appearing before people at his own place, where anytime in the past she was the overall boss. Top person. Now she is appearing there before. So we thought it was not the best place. But anyone who would like to go and see the place should try and arrange and go and see the place and see. That security issue, to me, it doesn't fly at all. We also heard that she says,
Are you suggesting that the place was too open and it couldn't have been a security issue?
no, it is, there's a gate, so you cannot just enter. But when you enter, there is nobody there to do anything about it. So she talked about being searched when she went there.
Before you enter, there's a thorough search of my body and my handbag in violation of protocols and courtesies extended to any Chief Justice.
All the members of the committee were searched, including myself. When we arrived, the chairman, who is a Supreme Court judge, was searched. All the judges, including we the non-judges, we were searched. Then when we met, then we told the security that no, you can't be doing this to us. We are coming here to do work, and you're supposed to give us security. You can't be subjecting us to search. So stop, you can't do this. So the first day, we were searched, but the Chief Justice was not there. She came the subsequent sitting, and when she came on the subsequent sitting, they searched her. Before they told us this is what has happened, and the committee decided again that no, stop searching her. So it was not as if somebody planned to embarrass her or do anything of the sort. Then she raised the issue of we not allowing her son, her daughter, and her husband to the place.
The committee has refused to allow me to go into the hearing with any family member,
which again is laughable. Because if you look at the constitutional provision under Article 146, it provides that the proceedings should be in camera. Now, if we allow the Chief Justice to come in with the husband and the daughter, what about the petitioners? Will the petitioners also be allowed to come in with their spouses and their children? And assuming the Chief Justice sympathizes, go to court and say, no, this thing is not in camera because there were other people in the room. They threw everything out.
So in camera technically means that no one outside of
unless
the
you
judiciary
have a role to play, you are a party, or maybe you provide technical support like the police and the people who record the proceedings. Apart from that, no you can't just come and say, like how you do in court, I'm going to listen. No, you can't come and listen. So we looked at all this and said, no, we cannot go for that. So that also explains the reason why we did not allow it. Then I heard her saying that she had waived her right of hearing in camera.
In order to address the troubling violations of the Constitution and illegality of the proceedings that have become obvious to me, that became obvious to me from the beginning of the process. I started an action in the Supreme Court. I applied for the proceedings of the committee set up by His Excellency the President to be held in public, so that in the interest of transparency and for the truth in the matters being raised to be made known to the people of Ghana. I did so because I knew that the secrecy of the proceedings for removing justices was not created in the Constitution as a cover-up for any agenda.
Maybe the type of constitution or the version of the constitution she reads is different from the one I have read. The constitution is categorical. It says that it must be in camera. It didn't say except if the respondent waives. It didn't give her that opportunity. It said the whole proceeding should be in camera. So, in my considered opinion, it was not her right. It is what the Constitution dictates that I think we should follow. Now let's come to Mr. Ayikoi Otoo's attack on me. I find it very interesting. He said he has provided all the evidence to Mr. Domelevo, a former Auditor General, and I sat there and I didn't take it, and other people, whatever influenced my decision, he doesn't know. Well, being an experienced lawyer, I expected him to know that yes, he provided evidence to us. we had to verify the evidence. We don't just take the evidence you have given to us. We are not idiots. You don't just give us anything and assume that we are going to take it, okay? And you will get it in a minute. Why I say we have to verify the evidence. He should also know that there are counter evidence from the petitioners. So when you provide evidence, they also provide evidence. We also look for our own evidence to validate it, okay? And I want to put it on record that he provided us with evidence that were fake evidence. Some of the evidence he provided us, as far as that financial issue is concerned,
They were fake. They had been manufactured.
if he doubts me, I challenge him to produce the appointment letter of the Chief Justice that he brought to the committee for the public to digest it. It will interest you to know that it is the junior of the Chief Justice, the Judicial Secretary, who appointed the Chief Justice.
How was that?
Yes, that letter he produced is signed by the Judicial Secretary appointing a Chief Justice. And apart from the heading of the document, which says appointment letter, there is no resemblance of appointment in the body of the letter. So it's just like me writing in front of your house, Office of the President. That means this is the presidency. That is all they did. When I looked at it, I said, the heading of this letter bears no relevance to the body of it. But be it as it may, in the public service and even in the private sector, a junior officer does not appoint a senior officer.
So basically, you're saying it was fake?
It's a fake document. It's a fake document. It's one of the evidence he produced just to make an argument. I don't believe it is authentic. Even if it is authentic, it is wrong. It is not the right document. Because the appointment of the Chief Justice per the Constitution is by the President, not the Judicial Service. So
it's the President's signature that should be on.
Exactly. And normally when you are appointed by the President, he actually issues, I've forgotten a decree or something like that, forgotten the name, a fiat or something like that. There's a document that is signed to show that you have been so appointed. You remember they give you something, a round document or paper,
like a scroll.
the national scroll, in the national colours.
Yeah.
Yes, normally it contains something like that, which shows that you have been appointed to become whatever position you are given. So, to me, that document is fake. But let's go on to other issues. Now we are talking about the incentives of a Chief Justice, the traveling allowances and what his family, etc., had to contain. Anyone who wants to understand this should read Article 71 of the Constitution. Article 71 of the Ghana's Constitution provides that it shall be determined by the President on the recommendation of a committee of not more than 5. There's what we call the Presidential Emolument Committee. The first one was by Chinri Hesse Committee. The last one was by Professor Fofie's committee. Almost every 4 years, that document comes out. If you peruse that document, which is supposed to determine the salary, the incentives, the benefits, etc. of the Chief Justice, that document does not give the Chief Justice even one personal travel at the expense of government. That is, the Chief Justice could go on official travels, is clearly stated there. But it does not allow her or him, if he's a man or a woman, to travel for a personal purpose at the expense of the government. And again, if you peruse that document, it does not provide anywhere that the Chief Justice shall be accompanied by the spouse or a family member. The only incentive provided in those documents that I'm talking about, there are about 5 or 6 of them. If you look, you peruse them, you will see that there are 2 things. Medical and dental health services are supposed to be borne by government for the incumbent, that is the Chief Justice, the spouse, and children below or up to the age of 18, but not exceeding 4. So, in fact, that applies not only to the Chief Justice, even for me as a former Auditor General, when I was in office as Auditor General, it applies. So the Chief Justice was entitled to medical services at the expense of the government, that is from public funds, dental services at the expense of government, and his or her spouse and a child of not more than 18 years are all to benefit from it. There is never a mention anywhere of personal travels.
The Chief Justice's appointment letter stated clearly that she will be entitled to 2 vacations in a year, and she can choose wherever she wants to go. There was this travel policy which allows the Chief Justice to travel with a person of her own choice, and that whatever, whatever per diem is given to her, the person is traveling with will be given half. These are not stories. They are all there.
And I challenge Mr. Ayikoi to produce one of those documents. The second argument is that, in my considered opinion, again, if Mr. Ayikoi Otoo would like to come again, he should show me where the mandate was given to the Judicial Council to approve a traveling policy for the Chief Justice.
Because of the judicial independence, they also granted them financial independence and asked them to work according to what they think is best to secure their independence. And therefore, they told them that it is only the Judicial Council that can determine anything which is pertaining to them, and not necessarily the executive. Not necessarily the executive. So the travel policy was something that came out from the Judicial Council, where Puama has been serving. And he knows that there was this travel policy.
Because, mind you, I said Article 71 already provides how those things should be determined. That is the salary, the incentives, benefits, conditions, allowances of the Chief Justice and some group of people, including the Auditor General, Electoral Commissioner, and the rest, is supposed to be determined by the President upon the recommendation of a committee not exceeding 5. So, where the Judicial Council got that mandate from to approve a personal travel, which, of course, to be honest with you, if it is something which has been at the place, then the former Chief Justices all have questions to answer, because they lack the jurisdiction. Do you know why? In a case of Nobelco versus Attorney General, I think somewhere 2016, 2017, the Supreme Court ruled that the only person who can determine the remunerations and incentives of the Chief Justice and the Supreme Court judges is the President, based upon the recommendation of the committee that I talked about. So no other person, because that the argument in that case was that the current president, that time he was in 2016, made some amendments after the committee had made a recommendation to him, and Nobelco challenged it. That look, you needed to seek guidance from Council of State. You as a president cannot just amend it or make changes alone. But the Supreme Court ruled unanimously to say that no way, it's only the president. And Justice Badegbe, in his concurring opinion, actually stated that the Constitution is not lazy. If they wanted the Council of State to be consulted, it would have been stated in the Constitution. So they have no role to play over there. That is one. Then this gentleman called Kwame Abronye, I've forgotten his actual name, Kwame something. You know Abronye?
The
regional chairman. Yes. In 2024 also went to the Supreme Court to challenge President Akufu's wife and Mahama and Baumia's wife. That's the president and the vice president's wife, from benefiting from S. Gratia. If you remember, there was some S. Gratia payment to the first lady and second lady. And the Supreme Court unanimously ruled that those people cannot benefit under any of the incentives that come under Article 71, because they are not mentioned in Article 71. It is only their husbands, that is the office holder. But that judgment, interesting, you know who wrote it? It was Justice Tokon. She wrote and said, by no machination should a spouse or relative benefit under Article 71, because the article lists the people who should benefit over there. At the time, she was extending the same courtesies to the husband and to the daughter. So I want Mr. Ayikoi Otoo to hear from my point of view that as an auditor, I deemed that travel policy approved by the Judicial Council as null, void, and of no effect. They had acted ultra vires. They don't have that mandate. That mandate lies with the committee, which is set up by the president to make the recommendation under Article 71. So that is why I did not take his evidence as he expected me to do.
And did you have a chance to explain this? Did you, or there was no need to?
Since he's saying that at the committee level?
Yes.
No. There we don't. We'll listen to this one, listen to this one, get your own evidence and put it together.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you see, one of the challenges there is immediately if you do what I do, immediately you will say I'm against you, or you will see where you are going. Because I'll tell you that you are wearing a white shirt. Why are you telling me this is brown? And maybe you are colorblind because I checked. This is not what we call brown. You get it? Immediately you know you are losing or you are not. So what the modus operandi is, we listen to you, your other counterpart cross-examine or challenge whatever it is. The committee only keep quiet and keep looking at you.
So basically what Ayikoi Otoo was saying was that you disregarded certain vital things which you are saying now.
Yes.
The evidence were fake.
To me, it didn't hold water because, for instance, some of the documents, like the appointment letter, to me it was fake. He brought a traveling policy to us, which we saw. In fact, there were about 3 versions of the same travel policy. One of them is even mentioned, marked current. They are all different. You can see there were alterations here and there. So we were laughing. One of them was attached to the Chief Justice's own response to the president. If you compared it to what came into was attached to her affidavit in chief, is different from what was also tendered by their director of finance. They were all different. And it's like the same travel policy, several versions.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you had the opportunity to answer in such depth, because that was the claim. And I said, as soon as we come on the show, I want you to react to that. So I'm glad you have.
I'm
glad you have.
Yes.
So let's move on, because majority of people too that are hounding me, case and bring them is all for one reason. They say they are not feeling the loot, the recovery, the loot we have felt.
I thought you said they don't feel the loot. I said, thank God, there's no looting.
No, they are not feeling the recovery.
The recovery.
It's like they feel the loot. They've been told about the loot. The loot was almost a campaign issue.
We'll launch an Operation Recover All the Loot to investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption. To investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption, no person found culpable will be spared.
And now they are not feeling the recovery. And that's why they wanted you here. So I'm glad you're here. Please, Ghanaians are watching you that Masa Domelevo Pacho, you feel recovery, no?
Yes, you feel it. You see, the truth of the matter is that the process is a very slow and very tedious one. A lot of work is going on at the various institutions, from the Attorney General, YOCO, OSP, the police, etc. They are all involved in this. But like they say, the wheel of justice grinds very slowly. And to you and me, our dislike anyway, is that not it? We want things like this, not slowly that way. So if you follow the briefing that the Attorney General has been given, a lot of work is going on. Will you ask, are you satisfied? I'll say no. I am not satisfied. I am not satisfied, not because I expect that people will have been jailed by now, or the monies will have been recovered by now, because I know it's a gradual process. It takes a long time. But there are some basics that must be in place to give us the assurance that we are going to win this war. Those basics, I'm not seeing them. What are those basics? One, the legal framework. It has remained largely the same. And you see, if you are going to fight corruption, and you must prove beyond reasonable doubt that the person stole money. Corruption is not done in the opening. It's not like murder, stealing, etc. That there are a lot of aggrieved persons and evidence for you to establish. Corruption is also not done by people who are as daft as me. It's very intellectual people who understand the process, who know how to use it without leaving even audit trail, who normally get themselves involved in these corrupt practices. So one will have expected that one of the quickest or the earliest legislation which will have come into place is what we call the reversed burden. Once we can establish that this vehicle or this house belongs to Daniel, and Daniel, you are a public office holder, your salary per month is 50,000. Let's assume that you save half of that every month, 25,000. It can't buy this vehicle, not to talk about the house. So now the onus now move to you to prove beyond reasonable doubt that you didn't steal public funds. That is what we are not feeling. That legal framework, which even the Constitution implies under Article 286. If you read Clause 4 of Article 286, which is Assets and Liabilities Declaration, it says that between your first declaration or your previous declaration and the subsequent one, if the growth in your assets or properties the growth is not commensurate with your sources of income, then we can assume that you earn that income or that asset illegally. So we expect, or I expect by now, that the Attorney General, as a matter of urgency, will have gone to the Parliament to pass a law to say, look, we can't put the proof of guilt in corruption at the same level as all other crimes like theft, murder, etc. Where at times you can see the dead body is there. We all saw you cutting him or etc. So we can prove it. But this one is white collar crime. It is difficult. So once it can be established that you have assets which cannot be explained, what we call unexplained wealth, then it means you are guilty of something. That is one. Two, the law should make it unattractive for people to engage in corruption. If you follow the news about 2 weeks ago, not up to even 2 weeks, I think, ago, the former Minister of Agri of China was found guilty of collecting bribe and awarding contracts, etc., to the tune of about $38 million. What did they do? The most impressive thing about it is that the trial was within 3 months or so. In Ghana, this will have remained in court for God knows how long. At times, some of the cases, until Jesus comes, they are never going to finish. Within 3 months or 4, they had finished the trial. That is one of the things I thought that Attorney General should do. Put a time limit to the court and say, look, from the day you start...
Very quick question.
Yeah.
Since that hasn't been done,
yes,
you don't have anything that will actually speed up the process, and we're going through the same business as usual. That's what Ghanaians are worried about, because they're asking, so by the end of 4 years, how many cases could have been recovered
that is
at this
exactly
rate?
my worry also. In fact, that's why I said, if you ask me, am I satisfied? I said, no, I'm not satisfied, because I can't see the end of the tunnel, not to talk about the light at the end of the tunnel. I can't even see it. I don't even see the end of the tunnel before the light, because I know this may continue until there's a change. In fact, the prayer of the corporates and their lawyers is that there should be a change in government. Then you hear nolli prosequa and etc., and our money is gone. Okay, so I expect that this should be in place by now, so that the court will be told that, look, corruption cases, 6 months maximum, you must finish it.
Thank you.
If you listen to me to the end of the Chinese one, when the gentleman was found guilty, he was sentenced to death. He was sentenced to death, and then they give him a reprieve to say, look, gentlemen, you have 2 years. If you want to leave, refund not just the 38 million, but all your assets, give it to us, because we assume you stole all of them, so we will take all your assets. But if after 2 years, you realize that you have not done that, we will go and sentence you or and kill you or whatever they will do to you to take your life. So that is when they are making corruption unattractive.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is like kid glove. You are treating people with kid gloves, and we don't even want to call it theft. It is only when somebody takes $2 Ghana cedis or 10 Ghana cedis from somebody's shop or in the house. Oh, it's a thief, it's a thief. But these big ones who are still, we don't even want to call it theft. We say misappropriation and whatnot.
Leakages.
Yes.
There are some leakages there.
Exactly. So that is my worry. Let me be honest with you. I would have expected that again the Attorney General will have gone to the Parliament with a bill which will have also addressed the capacity of the courts by now. He mentioned it, but I thought 9 months is a long time. He says he's going to submit this to, I think, Cabinet, then to Parliament to activate the tribunals and etc. I said 9 months. Sorry for crying aloud, but 9 months gone. We knew this problem when you were in opposition.
Yeah.
So immediately you hit the road, you must start running. So by now we should have those tribunals and special courts activated. And then you talk to the Chief Justice. If there is one institution which should work 24/7, is the judiciary. We need justice. They claim justice delayed is justice denied. So why can't we go and listen to the judge after 6 o'clock? Why can't we go to court at maybe 1 a.m. and the trial goes on? Now, if you go to court, at times the lawyer speaks for 5 minutes, then they adjourn the case for the next 6 months or 3 months or whatever it is. But if we increase the capacity of the court, that is, allow Chief Justice to recruit more judges, even including part-time judges, because there are so many lawyers. Some of them can be part-time judges, okay? So that we can hear these cases with speed. And when we do that, I expect the law now to take so many of the discretions away, where the judge will just slap you on the back and say you go and say no more. No. Once we have embezzled or stolen public funds, we should not be talking about recovering 100%. I don't know. I heard 60%. I don't know whether the Attorney General meant collecting the 100% plus 60 or only 60%.
60 and they're happy.
If it is only 60, then my brother, what it means is that you and I can come together, go and steal about 100 billion. When they catch us, we give them 60 billion and we keep 40 billion. We'll be quite good, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that what we should do at the minimum, and anybody who is an auditor or investigator like me knows that whatever we discover is just a small fraction of the whole thing. Your investigation can never reveal everything. Therefore, the minimum you should get is the total you are able to identify plus something. The minimum should be above what you have discovered, but not below what you have discovered. So if Attorney General actually exercise discretion to put that 60%, then my dear brother, is no, I disagree with him. It should not be the case. So if these things were to be in place, then the final thing that I was expecting, the criminal process again is a very slow one. And I suggested, even it is in our report, the oral report, that most of the cases require auditing because they relate to procurement and etc. They should pack all of them and give them to the Auditor General. And under Clause 8, Article 187, it says the President in the national interest can ask the Auditor General to conduct audit. So they can activate that clause of the Constitution and ask the Auditor General, do this audit. Do you know the advantage there? The Auditor General under Clause 7 of the 187 has the mandate to disallow the expenditures and surcharge. So he said, look, Mr. KSM, you didn't follow the procurement rules. You didn't do the right thing. So I've disallowed, I've surcharged. It becomes a judgment debt, more or less. So Attorney General, all that he needs to do to file a civil proceedings at the court to collect the money. That would have been faster for us. We will not be talking about 1 year. We will not be talking about even 6 months. But the procedure that Attorney General currently is using is going to be very difficult because the law is going, the criminal process is going to take a long time. And even when we win the case, that is, the judge rules in the state's favor that Daniel stole the money. Collecting the money also is another case. I hope you heard of the Wyoming's case. Did you hear the end of it? Do you know whether it has been fully recovered or not? So there's a Supreme Court saying that pay so much to the state. They say, okay, I'll pay, but I have only this for you. Then they'll say, we will sell this. They say, okay, I have this for you. And so I think there's a quicker route. These are desperate times, and desperate situations need desperate solutions.
Yeah.
We must not act as usual.
Yeah.
Thank
you. Talking about this whole thing, this business as usual attitude, here's something that's a prevailing thought. Rightly or wrongly, they say, oh, now you don't know politicians. They're all the same. They probably have cut some backdoor deals, and this whole delay is intentional. Is it possible that there's some intentionality involved, or is just the speed of the law, the slowly grinding speed? And why would he even choose to allow that slow grinding speed into something that we are treating as urgent?
That exactly is what most of us don't understand. We are yet to appreciate or understand, because we know that if we follow the laid down procedure or protocol, we may not get any results at all. We may even find it difficult to get 1% of the looted money, not to talk about 10% of the looted
1%.
money. 1% may be very difficult, because the longer the process takes, the more the chance and opportunity to maneuver and put water under the bridge and do a whole lot of things. That's why I was commending the Chinese trial. Within 3 months, they are done. So it's watertight, and people are watching. Some of the cases, we have even forgotten about them, because it has been there for too long. Later on that you hear that, oh, it has been ruled upon, and you even forget the case that they are talking about. So we can't be operating in the same way and be expecting different results. The way the president and his team hide corruption and said they are going to recover.
We'll launch an Operation Recover All the Loot to investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption. To investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption, no person found culpable will be spared.
I expected that once they came into power, for instance, internal auditing. Today, internal auditing remains still largely the same. Internal auditing is very key to preventing corruption, because these are professionals who review the transaction, and before you make payment, will say, no, it's not in line with the rules or the laws. So that is preventive. But these guys are not independent, and they are unable to check the MDAs because they are under the spending officer. So we have been calling for amending this law to make the internal auditors independent of the spending officer. And today, even if when you go to the private sector, in corporate practice, some corporate institutions outsource their internal auditing to even the S & Youngs and the PAP, Pricewaterhouse, etc. So internal auditor does not necessarily must be your staff. It can be an external person. So to ensure that the internal auditor is effective, his appointment, promotion, transfer, salary, etc. should not be the duty of the very person he is policing. Otherwise, you compromise him or her. We have said this over and over. I think a bill can go to Parliament quickly, and this should have been done. 9 months. 9 months is not small, my brother. Before we realize, we have finished the quarter of the term of President Mahama. So I think we have to change the speed at which we are moving, and let people gain the confidence that things are moving and moving very fast. It begs one question. Doesn't mean they didn't prepare before coming to office, or they were not ready for winning the election. If they were ready for election, I thought they should have planned all these things. So once they come to office, it will be like
hit the ground running. Everything is in place.
Exactly. If there's any frustration of mine, that is what I have. The speed at which things are being done is as if everything is normal.
It's quite interesting that everybody wanted me to get Domelevo on so that you can explain to us, perhaps maybe curtail our worry that this is being done. But you are here and you're actually feeling the same thing that they are feeling, that the things are kind of slow.
We are on the same boat, man. We are on the same boat. I feel exactly what they feel. In fact, I don't know if my feeling is even more than theirs. Because when I look at the quantum of money that we should recover and the speed, the snail speed at which we are moving, I'm like, when are we going to get there? We may not get there. So I am pleading with the Minister of Finance, I'm pleading with the President, I'm pleading with the Attorney General. They should change the modus operandi. We should change it. We can't be business as usual. Let's move. Let's get to the judiciary and tell them that we need more courts. Sorry, why do we have a room which is used only 8 hours in 24 hours a day?
That's a good question.
So when you have finished your term, after 8 hours, go. He comes in, another 8 hours, then I come in 8 hours. It means we have increased the capacity of the judiciary 3 times.
So, folks, basically, the 24-hour economy should start with the judiciary.
Exactly.
The judiciary should be operating 24 hours around the clock. Trying these cases, let's move it.
Yeah. Except that they are not serious telling us that justice delayed, justice denied. They have been telling us that if they really mean it, then I think they should think outside the box. They would say that, where are we going to get the personnel? There are several lawyers in Ghana. Some don't even get cases to handle. They should recruit them either full-time or part-time and put them into the courtrooms. Even lay people are at times engaged as magistrates, is that not it? So we can do that to address the issue.
And then the court should run 24 hours. That's the part. You know, you can't.
And not only 24 hours, but with time limit. That within 3 months or 6 months, you must finish the case. In fact, we should legislate that to stop this issue of appeal. Wait, when we finish the verdict, you can appeal all the things that you think were not right. But they use appeals to delay the process. Because you say is, you say no, it should not be is, it should be was. You say no, it is is. Then okay, let's appeal. Then we go to court and say this grammar, can you correct it for us? Court of Appeal say no, we think it is is. He say no, it's not good. Let's go to, we are going to Supreme Court. So at times you see,
so that can stall the whole procedure.
Of course, for several months. So, oh yes, at times it can even go a year. In fact, one of the judges who is my friend told me that somebody asked for adjournment of a case which was before him for 2 weeks. And he said, no, it's too long. I'm not going to grant 2 weeks. I'm giving you 2 days. We meet again. And the person appealed. It took 2 years before it was held. So instead of 2 weeks adjournment, it became 2 years. So yes, you have concerns with the procedures and issues. Keep it. When the verdict comes out, you put all together and appeal. But at least we will have finished the first stage and go to the next stage so that we address all of them. Because one case, there can be several appeals, which waste our time. Not only in corruption cases, but almost all criminal cases. But for corruption in particular, it is a unique type of thing. So I am appealing that we should look at the discretion that we give to the judges too much. And doesn't it hurt you, KSM, when you hear, for instance, a gentleman who put on military camouflage was convicted, sentenced to pay 600 Ghana cedis, not 6,000, 600 Ghana cedis. He didn't get it. He went 3 months to prison. 3 months. Then somebody who takes billions of our money, the case go on and on and on and on and on. We say that bail, no bail, etc. And it doesn't. So we are in the same boat. And I think those who are in leadership, especially the president and the minister, they should understand us. That they are there to serve us. They are not there to serve themselves. And this is what we, the people, we think. Is that it is like business as usual. And if it is business as usual, then we are never going to get there. We must have to change and make significant change. Said that there will be lifestyle audit, a reversal of burden, internal auditing, external audit, etc. They all come in, and then we can all be happy that, oh, we are getting somewhere.
I'm looking at the situation, and I'm going to ask you, and I think I asked one of my guests who came here recently, like, let's say, in the interest of achieving everything that you have talked about, so the government needs to put together, I don't know what, special courts, special tribunals, certain things that will speed up the things. What do you think? Because we are so now obsessed with our democracy and constitutional things, what do you think? Let's say, for example, the Ghana Bar Association, would they object to such fast tracking of issues and say it's not constitutional, or will they be embraced? And how does the government handle that? Something like, let's put in place special tribunals to deal with this thing without so-called offending what the Constitution says.
First and foremost, I find it difficult to hold people accountable for perceived offense, an offense which has not been committed. Okay. They have not shown any objection as far as I am concerned. But I don't think the Bar Association will be against this, because I've spoken to several lawyers and they think it is a good thing for them. In fact, they will get more market, because there are so many cases that will now be run. You remember the Attorney General will go to court with maybe 2, 3, 4, maximum 10 dockets at a time, because they must manage it. But when we do what we are talking about, he has to go to court with maybe about 100 dockets in different courts. What that means is that he needs more lawyers to be prosecutors. We need more lawyers to go on the bench, also to hear the case. So it's a job opportunity for the Bar Association. So they will be shooting themselves in the foot if they don't agree with this type of recommendation. And one of the things which also bothers me, in fact, to be honest with you, I have to say it, is this so-called legal vacation. At a point in time, they go on vacation. Yeah. Why don't we do that to the medicals? So the doctors and nurses, they all go on vacation for vacation. 2 or 3 months. Yeah. We all die before they come back. It's not right. I agree that every public servant or worker is entitled to leave. So we manage is that as you are resting, the two of us are working. By the time you come, he goes, and etc. So the court should work throughout the year. This legal vacation, which I am told was given to us by our colonial masters, because the judges came from England. And so they have
need to take a break and go back home.
Now the judges are here and they are still taking the break. I did a small research yesterday to find out how many countries are doing this. You may Google it yourself. You may find out up to 5 countries, and Ghana is very prominent. Ghana, India, and another country are the first 3. Then they say US and UK also have some variants of it and etc., but not like that of Ghana. So out of over 170 something countries, it's only Ghana and about 3 or 4 who do this, and we must leave it.
Yeah, we're going on the legal vacation.
Legal vacation.
No activity related to justice, courts, and they all come to a stop.
Well, they don't stop totally. There are some courts which are still in session for what they call urgent issues. But that must not happen. Can we say that we are closing down the whole hospital? There's one doctor on duty because we are going on medical vacation? Yeah. I don't think it makes sense.
So, folks, you are hearing it here, and please, whoever is responsible to help agitate this platform will start, though. This whole idea of a legal vacation where important things must come to a stop to wait for the vacation to be over. It's absolutely... Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's one of the things it has not occurred to. In fact, I had a discussion where one of my friends was saying, "Oh, it's done all over the world." That's why I went to research. I went on Google and I said, I should even send the results to you. That we have more than 170 countries. Ghana plus 2 or 3 others are doing this. So don't be proud about it. And even if we are all doing the stupid thing, can't we stop?
Can't we stop?
Can't we decide to stop?
Yeah. So here's a question. At the rate at which the slow pace of the recovery is going, and also understanding that certain things that should have been put in place to help speed up the process hasn't been done, in reality, what should we look forward to?
We should look for a change in the modus operandi.
I'm saying since that hasn't changed,
we have to push for that to change to come. Otherwise, we are not going to get the results. I've said it time and again that if you continue doing the same thing, you get the same results. If the government is going to use the status quo or the same modus operandi, then we should forget it, because it's going to be like how cases, you remember how some cases were in court for more than 4 years, and there's a change in government now, and government say, I'm no more interested, and some of them non prosecute, etc. then that's the same thing which is going to happen to us. We don't want that. We want them to bring finality to these cases. So they should change the legal framework. They should change the judiciary, the way the judiciary work. They should empower and give resources to the anti-corruption agencies like YOCO, OSP, etc. So they do the investigation quickly, including Auditor General, of course, do the investigation quickly, and several cases. If you hear the statistics, at times I'm like, you are not serious. They will tell you that, about 100 and something dockets have been prepared and they are prosecuting. I said, this is not enough. We don't want you to prosecute some. We want you to prosecute all of them. And again, the fact that you are pursuing the criminal side should not stop the civil aspect of it. So the Auditor General can take the civil side, which is faster. In fact, as for the Auditor General one, within a month, the audit will be completed and surcharge issued. Okay? So, and the Section 17 of the Audit Service Act provides that when you receive your surcharge certificate and you don't challenge it after 60 days, 2 weeks, then the amount is due. You have to pay. So all that we do is the Attorney General go to court and say, now Daniel is owing this amount per the certificate which he didn't challenge. And that is all. And that would have been fast. In fact, if we had gone that approach, by now we would have seen monies recovered. We will have seen monies recovered by now. But, lawyers like accountants, they confuse consistency with dogmatism. Many accountants do dogmatism because they think they want to be consistent. But the concept is that you continue applying the same rules until the need for change arises. But they turn consistency into dogmatism. It's a dogma. So this is how it is done in court. And that is all they do. So we should think outside the box and do things quite quickly. And of course, I agree with the plea bargain, where somebody agrees that you want to return the money.
But anyone familiar with the plea negotiations would agree that it is rare to go into the negotiation room and come out without giving up something in order to clinch a deal. It will be very illusionary for anyone to think that the Attorney General or the Republic can recover 100% in every case.
If he or she agrees to return the money, sorry for crying aloud, he should return everything plus something. He should not return a fraction or a percentage. It doesn't make sense to me that you can even take 10 million from a company, 2 years down the line, you return the 10 million. Does it make sense? No. Then it means you don't even know value for money. The value of the city today is different from what it was 3-4 years ago. Yeah. So if the person is ready to do a plea bargain, 100% plus a percentage, we should never agree that you pay 90% or 20%. No. It's not all.
A friend of mine was talking about, so now let's say somebody has gone and he has stolen 2 goats.
Yes.
And somewhere in the village,
and say, I return
2 goats.
Yes.
And he's been arrested, and he goes and says, okay, let me return one and keep one, and that's okay.
Yes. That's oh no, maybe he's not very generous. 3 goats. So he say, I'll return to you, let me keep one at least. And that settles it. No, we should not. We are
but the original idea of plea bargain, I know when I was in the US, there were a lot of plea bargains that I experienced or heard of. The mobsters, when one had been arrested and was going to go to jail, maybe he would plea bargain and bring in a whole lot of others, so that the jail term would be reduced from maybe 10 to 1, but not that he goes free because in the essence of the others he's reported. What's our plea bargain working like in Ghana? Like you can plea bargain because I've heard it, that the doors are now open. You can go and sit down with the Attorney General and plea bargain and decide how much you pay, how much you keep.
Our plea bargain statute captures that succinctly, as it contemplates that the Attorney General may even go to the extent of dropping charges in exchange for restitution. Also, under the Costs Act 1993, Act 459, an accused may plead guilty to a charge or charges and pay restitution where the offense involves harm to the property of the Republic, including financial resources. In that case, the accused is to be handed a non-custodial sentence. As the Attorney General, I will not oppose the use of Section 35 of the Courts Act to achieve the purposes of oral.
Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, there are two types where you and the Attorney General, you can get into that settlement agreement to say, look, drop the case and I will pay X amount of money. If that is agreed, then that ends it. But the judicial one is very important. The one where we go to court and then tell the court we are going to do a plea bargain, which means whatever you agree upon, you bring it back to the court for it to be entered as judgment. But if it is being done outside the court, I don't see the merit in that. Because in the future, Daniel is going to argue that I didn't commit any crime. I just gave you money because you were harassing me. But if it is entered as a judgment, I think that is necessary. And of course, like the president and his those who were campaigning with him said, we didn't say we are only going to recover. We said we are going to recover the loot and jail or prosecute the people.
We will launch an operation Recover All the Loot to investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption. To investigate, prosecute, and recover the proceeds of corruption, no person found culpable will be spared. But let me say that the sword of accountability will cut both ways, against both past and the present government.
So we need the prosecution also because we need deterrence. People should not, you see, if there is no consequence or dire consequence or unattractiveness introduced into the system, people will gamble with our money. If all that you can do to me is to recover what I stole, then I'll continue stealing. You catch me, I say, take this one. And like I said earlier on, no investigator can tell me that his investigation uncovered everything. No, you can't find it. You can find what you found, but the total may be more than that. Therefore, I think the deterrence is very important. We must make corruption unattractive. The sentencing should be that people will not like to go into it. Not that I want them to be put into life imprisonment. Okay, but the Chinese model is very nice. Daniel, you stole 5 million. We collect our 5 million plus all your houses and your cars and everything. Because we assume that's how you got all of them. We reduce you to ordinary person on the street. So everybody knows this rich man now, even bicycle, he doesn't have it. Okay? So we introduce deterrence into the system. But when it is a situation where you can even, lose the case and even collecting the money becomes a challenge. I think we are not serious. So we need to do those things so that we can give courage to the people or hope to the people that we are going to win this war.
What's your assessment now? Are we going to win the war? Does it look like we win the war?
Yeah, they are listening.
Unless we make those changes, can we win?
If we don't make those changes, let's forget it. It is going to be business as usual.
If we don't make the changes, let's forget it.
No, I won't believe anybody who tells me that we are going to win without those changes. We need to change the legal framework. And let me be blunt here. If government refuses to do these changes, it only tells me that either they are also doing the same thing, they are also stealing, or they have intention of stealing. That is the only motivation which will stop you from doing these things, which brings about quick win. I hope you understand me.
I understand
if we say that,
well.
Let's set a trap here for the thief, and you don't want us to set the trap, then it's either you are the thief or you also be a thief. That's why you don't want the trap over there. So if government wants us to trust them to say, look, this administration is clean, we are not going to do the same thing that we are accusing other people of, then they should put in place the systems that will address them. You see, when we put systems in place, you see, we should not do things on personal grounds. It brings about good behavior. And I've said time and again that where we have found ourselves as a country is because there are no consequences for misbehavior. It's the same with Galamsey and etc. Everything, Ghana, you can get away with murder. It is not right. We should change it. I'll give you an example of a friend of mine, my late friend, may he rest in peace. He's called Nana Boating. The two of us traveled from here to London. He picked me from my house because he was somewhere. He went to see somebody at Sakumono side and picked me from my house. And we went to the airport. He gave the car to his driver to go home. We flew to Heathrow Airport. The next morning, his sister came and met us and gave him the key to say that, oh, she is going somewhere, so she will not be able to go with that, so he should drive. After driving for about 20 minutes, I asked him, Nana, what has changed? He said, why? I said, Nana, the way you were driving yesterday is very different from this morning. If you were driving the way you were driving yesterday, we would have gotten about 10 cops already. But now you even stop and smiling at the pedestrians, taking time for them to pass. So what has changed? Then he said the system. The system. So that's the answer. Ghana, the problem we have is that we don't put systems in place. Yeah. And interestingly, I asked him, so why Ghana, we can't do that? So Ghana, all that you need to say, do you know me? I am the son of or uncle of so and so, and that's it. And I said, let's try. Why don't we try it here? He said, hey, you'll be in bigger trouble. Even once they know you belong to a bigger class or a higher class, your case is even worse. Yeah. So we should try and remove persons out of our processes and put systems that don't respect people in place. I think that is how we can go.
You've reminded me of another story I want to tell. Okay. You know, when I was stopped by some young cops, you know, police checks, you know, so they pulled me and I stopped. So they rushed the car to say, oh, KSM, oh, please go. I said, oh.
That's all.
You stopped me for something. So I started to lecture them. I said, listen, this is what is ruling Ghana. If you have to check my license, do go ahead and check whatever you have to check.
Exactly.
If you have to arrest me. He says, hey, KSM, but if I take you to the station, my commander will punish me. You know. So that's the system we're dealing with. That certain people are supposed to be excluded.
They are above the law.
They are above the law.
The law is for some people.
Yes.
No. We can't run a society like that.
And unfortunately, that's it. I was all this fight against Garam saying that you see somebody who has a TikTok. Hey, you think I saw Garam say, come here, we'll kill you. But freely on TikTok.
Yes.
That's the kind of country we are running?
Yes. Why would he not do that?
Why?
Because he knows he has somebody who is up there, who is his godfather. He's the one who is supplying the, what do you call them, the earth moving machine, what do you call it?
The excavators. Whatever they call it.
Yes, he's providing the excavators. How many of those guys know how cyanide and mercury is important to the country? Do they even know where it is supposed to be made? So it's the big man in air conditioning offices. Not the problem is not down there. I said always that it storms at the top and drizzles at the bottom. So if you don't want the drizzling, take off the tap at the top. It will stop, because these guys can never ever import these excavators. They cannot import cyanide and mercury and all those chemicals they use for processing the gold. So it will become unattractive business. And then when we do that, I expect also that, you see, it's a multifaceted problem. So we should solve it from different angles. So I also expect that the presidency or the government should be creating jobs. We should create jobs. We cannot leave our boys and girls on the street and say they will not go into, because they will die anyway. So they will just go in there and die. So let's create industries. Let's create a lot of agro-based industries in our country so that we can absorb them into these employment positions. I was even asking a friend that why will government not just say, look, we are going to double the size of our army, and we recruit these artisans and etc. to join the army. We train them. Then they will build a lot of public infrastructure, roads and etc. Go to Burkina Faso and see they are building it themselves. They are not using these contractors who charges exorbitant prices. So you use the army, and if they are given build it within 2 days, they will build it 2 days. And they say it must be of this quality, it will be of that quality. So I think we should start thinking outside the box. But the bottom line is that we should take those ladies and gentlemen out of that type of employment. Give them better livelihood. Listen, if you look at the type of work they are doing, I think it's very risky and dirty. If you see their bodies, they soak themselves in the soil and some of them die, etc. So give them alternatives. Let's create state farms, let's do businesses, let's do agro-based, this road construction. Let's recruit a lot of them into the construction industry. Give them some livelihood so that they don't need to go into the forest. Then when we station soldiers there, as the presidency is saying, that they are going to station soldiers so to protect those, and then I think we may be winning the fight earlier than expected. I must repeat, if we keep doing the same thing, we should not expect a different results.
Yeah, you keep getting the same results.
Yeah.
So I want to go on to something else in a part two, not on this one, but to wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
You know, I want you to, I think that's your camera, eh? What's this camera? I want you to talk directly to people in charge. What are the 3 things we need to do in Ghana to win this recovery thing? How do we recover the loot? How do we prosecute? What are the 3 main things in your view that should be done in Ghana?
1, the legal framework must change such that it makes it easy to punish wrongdoing. 2, institutional arrangement. Like I said, we must change the courts from sitting only 5 hours, 3 hours in a day. They should run 24/7. The 24-hour economy should go to the court. 3, we should put systems in place not to respect people. There should be consequences for misbehavior. If anybody who crosses the red line will be shot, we should shoot. Otherwise, we are not serious. We cannot make a law and give exemptions to almost everybody because you know someone. No, that must stop. And if you allow me to add another one,
please go ahead.
Your Excellency, the fight starts from the top. It storms at the top and rises at the bottom. Hold the big men accountable, and the small men will change immediately. Once they see the big man, that's why when I was Auditor General, I was not interested in headmasters and etc. I was interested in the directors, chief directors, and ministers. Because when you see the Minister of Education running, who are you a headmaster to stand? So it starts at the top, and then it will trickle down, and we will have a better society. Thank you.
And on that note, people, Ghana's most wanted for this show, he's come here and he's spoken, and it's been absolutely brilliant. But watch out for a quick part 2 that will talk about a few other issues outside of the loot and other issues. So, Daniel Domelevo, thank you so much. You know, I when I was I say everything. At some point, I was calling him boss, massa. I said, listen, Kesan. But at the time that you got your visa. No, how do you put it? Sorry.
Your passport and the visa that you used to the US. And you expected every Ghanaian to know that you were going to US. And you were worried that people didn't know that you were going to US. I didn't even have passport. so you are my senior.
It's a so-called boss. At the time you got your passport, you were going. At the time you were traveling, I didn't even have my passport. So anyway, Mr. Daniel Domelevo, my boss. I said, I can be older than you, but you're still my boss. Hey, boss.
I'm a public servant.
You're a public servant.
I'm the junior one. My job is to serve the public.
Fantastic.
And that is one of the problems the public service in Ghana, they don't know. If you're a police chief, if you're an army chief, if you're your job is to serve the people.
Yeah. I want to talk about that in the part 2 coming right up. Great. So folks, tune in tomorrow for a quick part 2 because now I want to focus a little bit on the public service. See you.
I'm in PENDREAM TV. Now, so far so good. Say open online portal in Ghana. Nipa share, nipa follow, nipa comment here. To my best of knowledge, without any biases, PENDREAM TV.